Inside Huntsville with Brenda Martin, a conversation with department heads at City Hall on streets, ball fields, public safety, and more. And also with our community partners that add economic security, support education, and enhance the city's quality of life.
Hello, I'm Brenda Martin with Inside Huntsville, and welcome to our show. The City of Huntsville operates under a mayor-council form of government as defined by the Mayor-Council Act of the state of Alabama. All official actions must be approved by a majority vote of the council during its regular meetings on the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. There are 5 city council districts, and today I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with the president of the City Council, Will Culver. Councilman Culver, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you being here today.
My pleasure, Ms. Martin, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay, and we'll have to make this a habit.
That is correct.
Okay.
It's a good habit.
A good habit. When I first met you some 27 years ago, you were a police officer. In fact, you were, highly respected and sought after, if I recall, DARE officer. So how did you go from, talk about how you went from being a DARE officer to where you are today?
Oh, that is a very good question, and I'm so glad you asked. You know, I was so excited to be a DARE officer. Just to take us back for a minute, then Chief of Police Rick Ottman and then Superintendent Dr. Mary Jane Kaler and Nolan Osmer and our Sergeant Mary Tomlin, we all took off and went to California and brought that program back here. And I must say, going into the schools and teaching our young children about the harmful effects of drugs and alcohol and how to resist pressures from their peers, their friends, from doing things they don't feel comfortable to do, it was a blessing to have that job. And Miss Martin, to be honest, that was a blessed job that I've ever had.
Yes.
Now, how did I get here? I remember my students telling me, you should be a TV host, and they just thought I had this great voice.
Yes.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to take this voice to the public and go out and tell people what I want to do for them. And as a result of that, they elected me to represent them in District 5.
How about that? And how long have you been a city council person now?
I'm into my 7th year. In fact, we're working towards 8 years.
Okay. And what an honor, huh?
It is truly an honor. It's an honor to have been chosen out of 7 people to represent their interests.
And now, not only are you city council, you are the president.
Well, Brenda, that is correct, and that is a double honor. It's an honor to get elected to serve in such a progressive city, but to be chosen by your colleagues to lead the council is just awesome.
Talk about the responsibilities there.
Well, the duties and responsibilities, aside from the day-to-day operations of the office, I'm tasked with managing the staff and a relatively small budget. And I find myself working for all 4 council members.
Sure.
So as president, I've worked for them. And one of the most significant roles would be leading the council and maintaining the decorum in those council meetings. And I've quickly learned that there's an art to it. And, you know, we have a good chemistry on the council, and I like for that to be displayed to the public when we go online.
Yes.
So we're blessed with that.
And city council meetings are aired?
They are aired live, and they are replayed. As you know, we meet second and fourth Thursday of each month, absent, you know, holidays and things of that nature. So they're aired live, and then they're replayed back multiple times between council meetings.
So that people can see what's going on, see the business, how you transact the business of the city.
Absolutely. We are very transparent, City of Huntsville government. You said it, we have a mayor-council form of government, and we're very transparent. And for people who maybe don't want to get up and come down to the council meeting, they can just tune in on the respective stations and watch those meetings live and or watch them on replay.
On replay, yes. Well, now, there are 5 districts, and each district has its own personality.
Yes.
Talk about what District 5 represents.
Well, District 5, just to kind of give you some history there, District 5 is one of the largest districts in the city of Huntsville.
Is that right?
The district lines began just east of Jordan Lane, and it goes west. It goes west to the city of Madison. Once it reaches Madison, it goes south to the city limits of Triana. In fact, District 5 completely surrounds Madison, encompassing the airport, and it goes west into Limestone County to the Athens city limits. District 5 goes north with neighborhoods backing up as far north as Douglas Road. So it's the largest district not only in landmass but in population. And right now we are at about 40,000 people just in District 5.
So you represent 40,000 people.
That is correct.
What are their interests and concerns, and how do you, and give us some examples.
Well, if you live west of Huntsville, and the district I represent is west of Huntsville,
Okay.
the first major concern is ingress and egress. If you live west and you're working in Huntsville, the traffic coming in the mornings, all of your main arteries, likewise in the evening. So you've got I-565, that's a east and west corridor between District 5 and the city of Huntsville. You've got 72 West, you've got Old Madison Pike, and you have Old Monrovia Roads. Those are the main arteries. So the district says, look, we're having difficulties getting to and from work. The mayor talks about the 17-minute commute. It's taking us longer than that. So you know what we did, and I say we, this includes the governor of the state of Alabama, Governor Bentley, Mayor Battle, all of our local legislative delegation, including the city of Madison. We all got together and we've been working collectively on trying to get rid of the traffic congestion. So we have an interchange now at I-565 that goes straight to County Line. We have now opened up Old Madison Pike with that bridge that connects Huntsville and the city of Madison. So those are two major things that we've done thus far. Now we have several projects, and Ms. Martin, it's just there are too many to name. The Zert Road project, we are 4-lane in Zert Road from Madison Boulevard all the way down to Martin Road. Gate 7 inside the Arsenal, we are 4-laning that from Martin Road all the way into the airport. Those are just a couple of the things that we're doing, and we are also widening 72 West rather, from Providence all the way to County Line. Now within that, from Hughes Road to Balch Road, that is going to be the responsibility of Madison City, but we've been working with them, so we have that worked out for them to do their part and for us to do our part. So we're going to see a drastic improvement for residents coming into Huntsville in the mornings and going back home in the evenings.
Well, you know, as you talk about all these projects that you have going, it's obvious that you have a good working relationship with the other officials from the surrounding cities.
That is
such as Madison and Limestone. Talk about that.
Well, that is extremely important. As you may remember, when Mayor Battle was elected in 2008, and I was elected to City Council in 2008, and then Mayor Paul Finley was elected to the City of Madison. Well, Mike Gillespie was our County Commission Chair. We all got together in a ceremony and buried the hatchet.
I remember that.
Now that hatchet is literally buried out there somewhere.
I remember that.
So the purpose of that was to show that whatever animosities that we had are all erased, and we're going to work together for the benefit of our community.
I remember that. Yes, that made a big difference too, didn't it?
It did. And
because you have to work together with all the growth that's going on. And talk about growth, you know, when I think of your district, I think of that's the area that's truly growing. You talk about GE Aviation and Polaris and Remington. Talk about all those.
Well, all of those companies are situated in District 5. You know, I'd like to take credit for all of that, but to be very candid with you, it required efforts from our U.S. Senators Jeff Sessions and Richard Shelby, in conjunction with our governor, our local mayors, our legislative delegation, our City of Madison council members, our City of Huntsville council members, and our Limestone County commissioners, as well as our Madison County commissioners. So we all got together and worked on those deals. So I'm happy that we have Remington that's now will be employing 2,000 people with jobs paying as much as $42,000 a year starting out. Likewise with Polaris, they have broken ground and will bring in 2,000 jobs as well.
Oh, wow.
GV Aviation, which is situated in proximity to both of those companies, will employ about 400 people, and those jobs will start out at about $48,000 a year.
Well, talk about now GE Aviation. What do they do?
That is a very good question, and I'm so glad you asked. Mayor Battle and I were in Montgomery when this announcement was made by Governor Bentley. GE Aviation has designed a material, like a ceramic material, that is about 10 times stronger than steel, 10 times lighter than steel, and this material is going to be used in jet engines. Further discussion with them also indicates that at some point in time that same material and technology is going to be put into automobiles. So can you imagine an automobile now weighing 3,000 pounds may drop to 1,500 pounds?
Oh my.
The fuel savings and all of those things. So this particular plant, GV Aviation, is the only one in the world that manufactures these kinds of materials.
How about Polaris? What will they manufacture?
Polaris will make all kinds of recreational vehicles. The one that we're not going to make will be the snowmobiles. Obviously, there's not a need for those in this particular area, but your recreational vehicles, your motorcycles, whatever people need for work, deer hunting, whatever the need is, they have a vehicle for you.
Okay.
So we're excited about that.
How about Remington?
Well, Remington is going to manufacture some weapons. For the most part, a lot of that will be ammunition that's going to be used for our federal government. And I want people to know that while those guns are being manufactured, it's not going to increase any amount of guns that will come into Huntsville. They will be shipped to other Remington outlets throughout the country.
Great, great. What are your interests and your concerns for your constituents?
Well, my concern for the people that live in District 5, as well as all of the residents, would be good schools. And this is why we work very closely with the Huntsville City School System, with the Madison County School System, and the Madison City School System.
Almost monthly with them, don't you?
We meet quite regularly with them. And the whole purpose is we want our children throughout Huntsville, Madison County to be able to get a quality education that's going to enable them to compete not only locally but globally. So the schools is one thing. And then, of course, residents, where they live. We want their neighborhoods to be safe, to be comfortable, and have a good place to work and play.
Yes.
So all of our energy then has been focused on those areas primarily.
Yes, wonderful. Now, how do you handle, you've got 40,000 people that you represent in District 5.
Yes.
How do you handle their concerns and their interest?
Because District 5 is probably one of the most diversified districts in the city of Huntsville, and because of its geographical boundaries, it's not practical for me to have a town hall meeting in one spot, because the needs over off of Grizzard Road and Maston Lake may differ from the needs for people who live off of Zert Road and folk who live in Limestone County. So with that being said, this year, in fact, I'm doing 12 town hall meetings. So we will go completely around the district.
Yes.
And some of the concerns that I'm getting from people, especially in those areas where we have recently annexed folk into Huntsville, they're concerned about the infrastructure. They're concerned about the services, police, fire, rescue. What we want to do is to provide the same services for anyone who lives in the city of Huntsville. If they live in Limestone County, but they're within the city limits of Huntsville, we want to provide them with those same services that people in the central city are getting. So it creates a challenge, and some of those challenges are, we've got to look at truly a West Police Precinct.
Okay.
That's something that is in the development stage, in the discussion stage. We're looking at fire stations even further west because it impacts insurance and all of those other things that are important to our residents. So my focus then is to try to make sure that we're able to provide those services throughout District 5.
12 town meetings.
Yes.
That's incredible.
We did it in 2008, and it was a very taxing endeavor, but we meet with the neighborhood associations.
Okay,
and,
sure.
usually I'll take with me, the mayor allows his cabinet to go with us.
Yes, yes.
And we'll entertain questions from garbage needs to street repairs to all of the services that everyone else likewise are getting in the central city.
And before we go any further, let's share your office hours, your information, because your constituents, when they want to talk with you face to face,
Yes.
I know you have hours, you'll be available for them. So talk to us about your basic contact information.
Well, my office phone is 256-427-5011. Now, Ms. Martin, prior to being president of the council, I had set office hours, and after that, I'm in the office every day. If I am not
that right?
traveling
Okay.
and out of town, I am in the council office every day.
Okay.
So any day that somebody wants to come and see me, they can just stop by and take a chance on catching me, or they can call 256-427-5011 and get a confirmed appointment.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'll put that information up on the screen. I'm sure you have a long list of successes, if you will, and things that have gone on, successful things that have gone on in your district. But specify some of those successes that you've had, that you've experienced in District 5.
You know, some of the more significant ones, and I'll talk about them, some we've already kind of talked about, bringing
Right.
Economic development into the district. But my biggest pleasure comes from helping that private citizen with what I may regard, or we may regard, as simple things like getting a lid on a garbage can. I had this lady who was very meticulous, and her lid had broken, and she did not want her garbage getting wet.
That's right.
Well,
Okay, I
within
love it.
24 hours, I had her a new garbage can at her residence. So it's those kinds of things to me that are indicative of being successful. When we look at some of the more significant things, we are so blessed in Huntsville to have, in North Alabama actually, to have the kinds of businesses that, in my opinion, help not just Huntsville, Madison County, but all of North Alabama, all 13 counties, as well as the southern part of Tennessee. So when we bring these companies in, like Remington and Polaris and GE, they're not only employing people in Huntsville, Madison County, but they're employing people in all of the 13 counties in North Alabama, and people are coming from southern Tennessee into Huntsville, Madison County to work. So that definitely is indicative of our success here in Huntsville.
I heard a figure, and I can't recall offhand, how many people travel. I've heard the mayor say this from time to time. 1,100 people commute in and out of Huntsville every day. Is that correct?
It's a little more than that.
Okay. Is that right?
It's closer to, well, when we look at the Arsenal, Redstone Arsenal, we've got about 40,000 residents. going on to the arsenal every day.
Okay.
We have about another 30,000 people coming into Research Park. So, and these individuals are coming from all over North Alabama, West Alabama. They're coming from Southern Tennessee.
Okay.
And that's one of the things we're doing at Gate 9. We're expanding Highway 255. We're going to add 2 more lanes. We're going to 6-lane that.
Okay.
For better ingress, egress into the Arsenal,
Arsenal.
and Commons Research Park.
Okay. One of the things you've done very well that I can recall, and that is to make sure to keep your constituents included in what's going on in the city. And one of the ways you do that is by putting them on boards.
Yes.
What is the process of getting on various boards in the city? If someone in your district would like to sit on, say, the library board,
Yes.
what would they do? How would they go about it?
First of all, I would suggest that they contact their respective council representative and the organization that they're interested in working with.
Okay.
Because some of those boards are looking at different times, they may be looking for a specific need. Like the hospital board, you know, the airport authority, the library. So I ask people to go back and look at what they can offer. And see if it corresponds with that particular organization. And if so, then contact the council representative and get their name in nomination. We'll do that at one council meeting, and then the following council meeting, we'll vote on those nominations.
And while we're talking about boards and committees, each city council member sits on a city board.
Yes.
There are about 10 boards, I understand.
That is correct.
What boards do you sit on, and how do you manage that?
I'm currently serving on the Community Action Partnership Board, which is Huntsville, Madison County, and Limestone County. Of course, I know you're familiar with the things that we do in terms of helping folk with utilities, helping them to be more energy efficient, and mortgage and home ownership, those kinds of things. Since I'm president, I appointed several council members to other various boards.
I see.
For example, the Finance Committee, Commons Research Park Board, TARCOG, the Insurance Board. So what we do is kind of rotate those, and all of these I'm naming, I have personally served on them.
Okay.
But those boards sometimes can be time-consuming when you are really putting in the effort, and all council members do that. So we try to not put too many on any particular council member.
Okay, sure, because there's other activities obviously they have to do as well.
Yes.
Councilman, it has been wonderful to have you here today. Now, one of the things we're going to have to do, because you've got so much going on in District 5, of course, as we do in all the districts, but we're going to have you on again soon.
Absolutely.
So that you can share the updates.
Yes.
That's going on, because things are moving fast.
Things are moving fast, constantly changing. I tell people, if you haven't been to Huntsville in a year or two, you come back, you'll get lost.
That's for sure. I mean, it's almost like if you go out of town
Yes.
and come back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You see changes on
Yes.
the highway, etc. But I do appreciate you taking the time out of what I know to be a very busy schedule that you have to share with our public what's going on in District 5.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
My guest today has been Councilman Will Culver of District 5 and the current president of the City Council. It's been my pleasure, certainly, to bring you another episode of Inside Huntsville. I'm Brenda Martin. Have a great day.